Number 5, Vault 12. Vault 12 is a huge facility that was able to support over 1,000 residents. It was also one of the best stocked vaults with an abundance of amenities, both recreational and practical. Unfortunately for the inhabitants, the door was never fully sealed. This unfortunately meant the whole vault was exposed to radiation from the outside world. Vault 12 was also forced in by outsiders after they realized the door wasn't sealed, leading to extensive overpopulation. Despite being relatively unaffected by the explosive blast themselves, the residents in the vault succumbed to the creeping radiation, turning them into ghouls, and ultimately this led to the founding of the ghoul town, Necropolis. Number 4, Vault 87. Vault 87 was an important part of the Enclave's experiments. After entering the vault, the inhabitants were forced into airtight chambers and exposed to the forced evolutionary virus. The virus transformed the inhabitants into a number of horrific creatures, most notably the supermutants and centaurs. These supermutants became extremely aggressive. The virus, however, ensured that supermutants were totally infertile, and this means there was no way they could ever expand their species beyond exposing others to the virus. 3. Vault 108. Vault 108 is a number of bizarre oddities that took place in its walls. Most notably, the vault contained a cloning facility. However, there was an elaborate experiment that led to the total collapse of the vaults. The first overseer of Vault 108 went into the vault knowing he was expected to die within 40 months of entering the facility. The experiment was researching conflict for leadership, and as such, no authority positions were ever assigned to any of the general residents of the vault. On top of this, the power supply was intended to fail after 240 months. No entertainment was given, and there was an excessively stocked armory that the cloning experiment gone quickly out of hand, with each clone having an extremely temperament violent toward non-clones. By the time the player reaches the vault, only clones are left live inside. Early each clone can say only one word. Gary? Number 2, Vault 77. Whilst many other vaults involved overpopulation and crowding, Vault 77 was inhabited by just one man. For months, the man bashed against the vault's doors, assuming more vault dwellers would be on their way soon. He discovered, however, that he'd only been left a crate full of puppets, which later he gave names and personalities, becoming quite mad due to the prolonged isolation. He invented a whole life based around the puppets, even becoming embroiled in a murder mystery involving the death of one of the puppets. Eventually, Vault 77 dweller managed to escape and enter the wilderness. After being captured by slavers, however, he managed to kill both of them mercilessly whilst wearing the vault by puppet on his hand, him the name Puppet Man. Number 1, Vault 11. Vault 11 was a well-stocked, sizable facility with no drugs being pumped through the air or deadly plants that could infect everyone. Instead, it was part of a horrifying experiment that pitted choices of morality and morality against each other. Upon arriving at the vaults, the inhabitants were told they must sacrifice one vault dweller to the computer each year, or else everyone else would be killed. The decision process was settled by a democratic voting system, and for many years people lived relatively comfortably beyond the burden of the odd human sacrifice every now and again. The voting was also led by the formation of several blocks, whose members would influence the elections heavily. The most powerful block, named the Justice Block, one year threatened a resident named Catherine Stone into performing sexual acts and favors for their members. In exchange, they wouldn't vote her husband Nathan Stone to be sacrificed. Although she complied, they voted for Nathan Stone anyway. In retaliation, Catherine Stone began murdering members of the Justice Block, and then confessed to her crimes and got elected as both the sacrifice and overseer of the vault. However, even after this, there was a giant civil war within the vault which led to the death of almost all of its members, bar 5. These last 5 survivors decided to commit suicide together by defying the computer and refusing to sacrifice any one person. It was then that they made the horrifying discovery that this was exactly what the computer wanted, and they've been living a sickening lie. It emerged that in the case that the people would defy the computer would congratulate Vault 11's populace on their selflessness and allow them to leave the vault if they wished. 4 of the 5 survivors decided to commit suicide anyway. The only remaining survivor from Vault 11 was never actually revealed, and to this day we don't know where they are.